and you have to then get involved and try and get them to work better together. As you move up the organization, then those kind of responsibilities become more important. Yeah. I always dream of the day when I come into a company and everyone's happy working together, and that's fantasy land. Doesn't happen. And you'll be surprised that even at the most senior level, okay, no, you shouldn't be surprised, because people are still people, right? Doesn't matter whether they are an office boy, an executive, a manager, or even a CEO. They're still people, and people have characters. And I always advise people who work that they should be at work. They should be firstly professional. Okay, and that means doing the job that you are paid for. You're not paid to not like a person. You're not paid to not cooperate with a person. You're just paid to do the job. You know. Now, I don't expect everyone to like each other. That's again fantasy land. You know. But I do expect them to work together, even if the person you have to work with you don't like. Now that sounds simple, but it's almost impossible to do, right? Yes. Because we're people and we have feelings. So that to me is probably the biggest challenge in the workplace for anyone. It's not so much how difficult the job is, how late you have to work, or whatever, how much you get paid. The biggest challenge is trying to work with another colleague who you don't like. Right? So how do you get around that? I mean, be professional. You know, it helps if you make the first move. Okay, it doesn't help. I mean, assuming both of you don't like each other, right, and you don't talk to each other, then it's tough. But someone has to break the ice, and the professional would. Why would the professional do it? Because he or she knows the job has to get done. Right? And that's all I want. That's all I ask of my people. But most of the time I don't get the response I want. Yes. Yeah, sorry. You first. Okay.
I have a two-tier question. One was that if you could introduce a little bit more about Bursa Malaysia, how many companies are listed, and a little bit more details on that.
Sure.
Second was, in the corporate world, delegation, as you were saying about your ex-boss, he had a problem in letting go of his control. A lot of managers also have the same problem. They don't delegate. Any tips, steroids, how to do that in a better way?
Okay, good questions. The first one is about how many companies we have. We have about close to 1,000 companies. We have many small companies, a lot of medium companies, and a number of big companies. But the companies we have are quite diversified in nature, because our economy is well diversified. You know, in Malaysia, we are blessed in that we have resources, we have very enterprising people, and generally well educated. So our people have set up businesses in a variety of industries, you know, from oil and gas to palm oil plantations to electronics. You know, you name it, we've got it. Banks, property, construction. And we've got so many sectors, and it represents our economy, and that is what makes Malaysia an interesting country, and that's what makes our market an interesting market. Although, you know, I wish more people would invest in the market. And then sorry.
Capital requirements.
Oh, okay. I mean, we've changed our rules sometime last year. We have now two boards. We have the main board, which is for established companies with a track record, So your company has been around for a while, it's profitable. It meets the criteria. I can't remember the numbers. Anyone help me there? I mean, you got to make, I don't know, let's say you got to make say 5 million or 10 million profit a year, yeah? over 3 years. It's around that range. Then you qualify for listing, yeah? Subject to the promoters not being crooks or ex-convicts and stuff like that. Yeah? Corporate governance issues. We will. The Securities Commission is the authority that will approve applications for listing. The other board is called ACE. Yeah? ACE board is meant for businesses that don't have track records. Yeah? So let's say you have a young company that has a very good business plan, good product, but you don't have a track record because you've been around maybe 1 or 2 years or whatever. Then what you need to do is to get a sponsor, which is an investment bank. Once you get a sponsor, then you can list on ACE. But the sponsor needs to be satisfied that you have a good you have good potential. Okay, right. But we also run a derivatives market, that is for trading of future contracts. There's a second part of the question I haven't answered yet. You're asking about delegation.
How to
in the example I quoted earlier, this entrepreneur who was very successful during his time had difficulty in letting go of power. And that's very common amongst entrepreneurs, because the business that you set up is a bit like your child, you know, and most parents, you know, have difficulty letting the child go. So in the case of businesses, as businesses grow bigger and bigger, the number of employees obviously will expand. So, you know, when you're running a company that has 10 employees or 50 employees, it's relatively easy to manage. But when the business gets big and you have 500 or 5,000 employees, then you need to employ more professionals to help. And that's when you need to start delegating or giving up some of that power. And that's never an easy thing for people who have built up businesses from scratch. And they've made all the decisions, what to buy, who to buy from, who the customers are, you know, from to what they pay their staff. And to have to let go some of the decisions is not easy for people. And but the more successful companies are the ones that have evolved. You know? I mean, you know, look at Bill Gates and people like that. I mean, they started a company, but over time they have brought in professionals to run the company, and so that's always a challenge. But to me, it's always a choice. Right? Everyone has a choice. You decide whether you want to let go or not. If you don't let go, then the result is that your company is probably not going to grow very big. Then you keep it small. Yeah? Some people prefer to do that. Not all businessmen want big companies. Some are quite happy keeping it relatively small, within their control, within the families. Or a lot of them don't mind delegating to their children or their brothers and sisters. But to strangers, not so easy. Then the issue of trust, yeah? Whether you can trust people. But again, this is where you look for professionals. If you this is another challenge today. Okay, all the problems we have in the corporate world are probably because of dishonest people. Well, not all, maybe most of them. Most of them. Yeah. Sometimes you get honest people working very hard, and then they hit business cycles, right? Your industry is a sunset industry, or your product becomes obsolete, and then you can't help it. Then the business will go down. But sometimes you get situations where people take money out of companies, you know, they do lots of fraudulent stuff, and that brings down a lot of companies. So it's always a choice for entrepreneurs as to how they want to manage their businesses. If they want to keep it within their control, their family's control, then